the intro for a second. It's okay. Oh, no, we're just still going live. Now we're live. Maybe. Oh, perfect. Except it looks a little weird. It looks like it's being weird. We're going to see. Hi, friends. I'm here. I'm just trying to get all that together. Are y'all doing okay? What just happened? I'm not going to be doing okay if my video won't stop working. Why are you waiting for a live video? Hello? Okay, here we go. We're rolling. Maybe. Let's see. No, that's last week. Not just doing that. There we go. We're back on YouTube for the first time in a long time, and I'm trying to get my life together. Except we're only going to be here if I can figure out how to do both. Hey, Jessica, is it like spotty on your side? I'm just wondering. Jessica's on YouTube. And are we spotty on Facebook? Excellent. I got my hair did today. I'll put a little more blonde in it because why not? Why not? Okay. I'm gonna proceed like things are working, and you guys just tell me if at any point that becomes not the case. How about that? Cool. I'm actually gonna move this. This is annoying me. Hi, Krista. Welcome. Just started in July. That's awesome. So to plan for a quarter at a time in my business. So we're going to look at planning for not specifically September, but for October, November, and December. It's going to help you plan and set goals for September if you haven't already also. Okay. So, but before we do that, I have some notes that I want to read y'all. Well, I made a few notes because, so this is just something that's on my heart today. First of all, welcome to Online Steps to Success. I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I think Brian just upgraded our Wi-Fi. We're going to see if that's the case. Tonight, oh, my name is Allison Dalkey. Great to meet you. Glad you're here. Tonight we are, like I said, doing workshop style. We're going to look at quarterly goal planning. I moved over so I can see my notes on my computer. But before we do that, I want to mention something that is just kind of bothers me a little bit. Not bothers me. It's just something that's kind of been a recurring theme, something that's been coming up, and I want to talk about it tonight. It's something I'm personally going through a little bit, and I hope that it's helpful to you, especially for those of you in leadership. Here's what I need you to understand, and I really need you to understand this as we walk into what I'm about to ask you to do tonight. Making mistakes, failing, trying something that doesn't work, all of that is okay. And on top of it being okay, honestly, it's the only way your business is going to grow well long-term. I'm telling you this because I've messed up a lot. Even as recently as this week, I've done some dumb things and made some mistakes. But I think it's so vital that you do not run your business worried about what other people are going to think, worried about other people's expectations, or worried that you're going to get it wrong. Because the reality is you are going to get some things wrong. You're going to mess up. And one of the things I see happen a lot is that stalls leaders out is they don't move and they don't act and they don't try something new because they're afraid of failing, of making a mistake. So I want you to get that out of your head right now. You're going to mess up. You're going to try something that doesn't work. You're going to offend somebody. You're going to say something wrong. You're not going to meet somebody's expectations. If it hasn't happened yet, it will happen. And one of the reasons I plan like the way I'm about to show you is because it helps give me clarity and a very firm reminder of why I run my business the way I run my business. I do not run my business the way a lot of people do. And it's intentional, not because I think they're doing anything wrong, but because in the season my business is in, it's wrong for me right now. And that's okay. Here, I want you to keep failure in mind. Remember that not everything you try is going to work, and that's okay. But use the mistake to make a better choice next time. And that's the key. Messing up is simply how we get knowledge and experience. And I know it's easy to see other people's lives on social media or even here on Online Steps to Success, and you show up and you think, oh, she must know what she's doing. And I do know what I'm doing about some things. I'm not trying to totally deauthorize myself. Or to think that all of those people that you watch and admire don't mess up or don't get it wrong. Please know that that is not true and will never be true. Okay. So I want to say that. I want us to move forward with intention. And I hope that that gives you a little bit of freedom tonight. Okay. Y'all ready to work? So I did say this is workshop style. Here's how we're going to do this. We're not going to do a post show today. We've been doing a post show, which I have been loving because I get to chat with you guys a little bit more intimately, kind of answer whatever questions you have. But we're not going to do that today because we're going to roll through this. Like if you were sitting at my house and you were saying, how do I plan for the fourth quarter? This is exactly what I would have you do. Okay. This method I'm going to show you is what allows me to keep first things first in my business. It's what allows us to take 4 weeks off every year, at least 4 weeks off. We always take 4 weeks off from the end of shipping cutoff until the middle of January, every single year. For the past, I think, 4 years, it's been a game changer in my business. It has given me so much enthusiasm and excitement about coming back. And everybody's always like, how do you do that? I do that by using this method of planning. I plan my hiney off and then I work my tail. I work with intention and I do it on purpose so that I can put that gap in the end of the year because I just need it. That may not be what the goal is for you. I don't know what the goal is for you. It doesn't even have to be that. You just want to plan for the next quarter. That's amazing. But this is how we do that. So here's what you do need to have. You need to have access to your calendar. If it's on your phone or your computer, whatever, that's fine. If you have a paper calendar, you need to have it to look at visually. This is a visual process. You need something to write with and something to write on. I don't care what it is, but you need multiple sheets of paper. It can be a notebook. It can be loose paper. Don't get worried about the details. That doesn't really matter too much. Okay. Also, I am going to take your questions, but if you could hold them until I ask for them, I'm going to pause a little bit as we go so I can check the comments. But if you just start throwing questions at me right now, I'm going to miss some of them. So just wait until I ask for questions and then we will go from there. Okay? You guys ready? Do I have any other notes right here? No, I didn't. Okay, the rest is on paper. Okay, you guys doing okay? You're doing good. Okay. Let me see. I keep meaning to put my other tripod on. Not today. That's okay. All right. So here's what I want you to do. On your piece of paper. I always do this on just like a legal pad or a piece of poster board. I like to write things big. So here's where you're going to start. We're going to basically go through 10 kind of bullety point things. Some of this you're going to think, Allison, this is a little ridiculous. How does this pertain to my business? I need you to trust me. I don't care just about your business. I care about your life. And this business was meant to be a lifestyle business, meaning it is supposed to enhance your lifestyle. It is not supposed to make it worse. Some of you, the way you're running your business, it's making your life worse. And we don't want that. Okay. And I'm guilty as charged. It happened to me. This business made my marriage worse for a season. It made my parenting. There's a lot of things. But I'm telling you right now, we can change that. It just takes some tension. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some things. I'm going to ask you to work through some things that you're going to think are irrelevant. They are not irrelevant. Just trust me. Okay. All right. So on your piece of paper, also, this is not meant to look pretty or be shown to anybody else. It's really just for you. So don't worry about what it looks like. Okay, don't second guess yourself. I want it to be messy. I want you to write things down. Okay, that's part of the process. Writing is how we process our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, all those things. So the physical writing of this is important. All right, first thing I want you to write on a blank sheet of paper. I want you to, as best you can, write down why you're running this business. Why? I want you to do it right now. I'm going to wait for you. Like your 8th grade lit teacher asked you to answer a question. I want you to write down why you are doing this business. Now, this is incredibly personal. This is something that should make you emotional. And this is something also for those of you who have been in for more than a few years, this is probably something that has changed for you. And if it hasn't changed for you, or maybe like you got the why initially and now you're not sure, we need to be sure. We're going to start with why. So I want you to write down why you are running this business. You can make a list of things. You can write a beautifully crafted sentence. You can write a paragraph. I don't care. This is about you. Courtney, write all the whys down. You guys, this is what I would call the big dream. I'm being quiet because you're writing. It's awkward because I'm by myself in my office. And I don't know if you're actually writing or not, but I'm going to trust that you are because you're good students, right? I'm playing teacher, if you didn't notice. While you're writing, and if you need to put me on mute for a minute, put me on mute so you can keep writing, but I want to share this with you. The reason this is so vitally important is if you don't know why you're running your business, you, not somebody else, it's going to be far too easy for you to see what somebody else is doing in their business and say, oh, I should do that. I should do that. I'm going to give you an example. This business has radically changed my life in every possible way. November will be 13 years. I cannot imagine my life without it. And where our business is right now, in the stage of growth that it is different than a lot of other people. But it's still easy for even me to look at what somebody is doing and say, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I should do that. And if I'm not super, super focused on my why, it's very easy to jump ship, get distracted, and then all of a sudden I'm doing something that is not getting me closer to my goal. Does that make sense? So it's so vital that you understand and can articulate your why. You need to know deep in your core why you're doing this. For some of you, this may be the first time you're writing it down, or the first time you're being honest with yourself about it. And that's okay. And that's good. And that means we're moving forward, right? I'm going to give you an example. Mine is very vastly different than it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago. It's changed so many times. It's evolved and it's grown. I don't have any huge aspirations right now for, I can't, there's no more title promotions. There's circle of excellence to work for. Honestly, it's not like my drive. It's not my why. It's not my driving factor. My why, my big goal in my business is I want continued growth year over year in our organization. And I want to successfully equip and empower women to use this business to chase their own dreams. I want to help people use this as a vehicle. And I want to be living the example of that, meaning I want to be chasing my own dreams while I'm running this business. And it's possible, but that's where I'm at. And if I get unfocused from that and I forget about that, I can work this job 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. And if I'm doing that, I'm not chasing other dreams. And that is not in line with why I'm doing what I'm doing. So your why matters. It matters a lot, and we have to start there. Okay? Okay. Cool. Here's the other thing. A lot of people have trouble with this. If we were in the room together, I would ask you, or you would come to me and say, like, oh, this is my why. And some of you, I would say, that's really not your why. That's a goal. That's not your why. I honestly, that why is probably not even good enough. For me, it really is. I want this business to run where we have time freedom, meaning I want it to run efficiently. I want to do it well. I want to do it really well. But I also want to get it to a place where I have the freedom to say, let's take 4 weeks off in the summer. I want to be able to do that. That is incredibly important to me in this season of my life. So that is probably a little bit closer to it. The continued growth year over year and equipping and empowering women to chase their own dreams with this business, that's really a goal. You see the difference? They're a little bit different. One of them is like a heartbeat. One of them is how you get to the heartbeat. Okay? All right. So hopefully you have your why on your piece of paper. Also, some of you are going to think that's dumb. Think it's dumb until you need it. You're going to need it eventually. You need it. I'm telling you, you need a strong why as to why you're doing this. Also, those of you who have been in for a long time and you have forgotten, you've lost it, you've got off track, spend some time reflecting in gratitude and get it back. Figure out what it is. There is something there. You just need to be brave enough to say what it is and to name it. It's vital. Okay. All right. So you could absolutely share this with your upline, Kathy. That's great. I should have had a drink when I was having you right? Okay. Number 2. We started with why. Now what we're going to do as we start to look at the 4th quarter of the year, we're going to consider the season. So every time I sit down to do this season is incredibly important to me. So obviously we are going into fall that moves into the holidays, right? Okay. That season is busy, important. I want you to physically write down like fall, Christmas, holidays, whatever this season means to you. It might make you think of Christmas. It might make you think of fresh starts as we go into January, which obviously is the end of the 4th quarter. It may make you think of football season or whatever it is that you associate with this season. I want you to write it down. Pumpkins, pumpkin spice lattes, whatever. I want you to write it down because we're considering this season as we plan and prepare for the last 3 months of the year. Okay, number 3. I want you to think about, and I want you to write a few things down about how you're feeling about your business right now. How do you feel your work-life balance is? How do you feel like your boundaries are? How do you feel like your relationships you've built in the business are? Are you resting well? Are you playing? Are you celebrating? Are you living? There are things I want you to think about in relation to your life. What are some feelings you have about your business? And it's really important that you are honest about those feelings because they're going to help us. Our feelings help guide us into where we need to go and what we need to focus on. And all of your feelings are going to be different. Some of you are going to feel, maybe in this season, you feel super burnt out because you just hustled your tail all summer. I don't know. Some of you may be feeling the complete opposite of that. Like you're not feeling burnt out. You're feeling like I need to pick it up. Or I don't know what it is for you, but you need to be very, very honest about it. As we go into really setting some realistic goals in intentional planning, we have to know where we're starting from. Hey, babe. So consider how you're feeling about your business in your life right now. Write down those thoughts. I don't care if they're messy. I don't care if they're gross. Like, I don't care what they are. Write them down. They may be amazing. Whatever you're feeling, write it down. You could still be writing if you want. Or you could have just wrote a few things, whatever. So we started with our why. We considered the season. We wrote down some honest thoughts about how you feel about your life and your business right now. How are you feeling? Checking in. Now, part number 4, I want you to list out all the obstacles that you can imagine coming your way in the next 3 months. I'm specifically talking about October, November, and December, but if you can put September too if you want to. What are some specific obstacles that you know you're going to face as you run your business this season? Write them all down. Okay. Are you working? You should be working. Some of you are just staring at me while I'm being quiet. That's not what I asked you to do. I said it was a workshop. It means you got to work. Okay, you ready for the next one? Obstacles. And be honest about the obstacles. Your kids may be home. You may be about to lose your mind. Fair, guilty, all the things. What are the obstacles? I had to reschedule a coaching call twice today. Guys. Sorry, Martha. It just wasn't working out. Oh, Whitney, this is great. So Whitney says, I'm honestly scared of what will happen to my business after giving birth in November with 2 toddlers already. Talk about an obstacle, incredible obstacle. All the more reason you need to be actually doing this work right now and planning so that you can take some time off to rest. At the same time, this is the beauty of this business. While you're resting, if we have systems in place, you can still be generating income. Vital, important, helpful. Also, Whitney, I would say, I honestly think the more kids I had, the better I got at business. Because this is mom of 4 talking. So in the past 13 years, my daughter is 13. She was 9 months old when I joined. And it was just her. Then I had another one. They were almost exactly 2 years apart. Then we had 2 foster babies at the same time. So we had 4 that were 5 and under. Then we had our 3rd baby. Then we had another foster baby. Then we had our 4th baby. So I get all the baby things. Huge obstacle. But also, if you are intentional, it can make you better at business because it takes away time, energy, efficiency, right? It takes away a lot from you. And you don't have time for fluff when you have tiny people that you have to feed, right? You don't have time for it. So look at it as a challenge to make your business better. And this can be, it doesn't even be about babies. It could be anything. It could be digital schooling your kids from home, like whatever challenge you're facing. Use it as a challenge, not as an obstacle, and say, how can I utilize this to make my business better long term? Okay. All right. I hope that's helped. But girl, you're going to crush this. Okay. Now, next thing I want you to consider, and I want you to write it down. I want you to look at your calendar, and I want you to note the important things. What's on the calendar? We're specifically talking about October, November, December. This is the craziest time of year for us. We have 2 birthdays in October, fall break, right? Thanksgiving week in November. December, we have birthdays, Christmas, all the things. Put the big things on the calendar. Big events that are happening, because we want to make sure that we make space for those. We don't want to work our life around our business. We want to work our business around our life. But we have to know what's on the calendar. So write all those things down. What's on the calendar? What's important and what's big that needs to be addressed, and given ample space for what it is. Okay? Okay, next thing I want you to write down. Remember when I told you this is going to be a mess? It's going to look like a mess, and that's okay. It's supposed to. We're going to clean it up and tie it up in just a minute. Next thing I want you to write down are any areas of tension or stress. Now, this can be in your life or in your business. Again, you don't have to share this with anybody. This is you being honest with you. What are the areas of tension in your life or your business, or both? What's interesting is when I talk to leaders and when I talk to consultants that are, growing their business, what happens sometimes is an area of tension in their home life can often be the thing that's keeping them from moving forward in their business. Something as simple as laundry. So what are the areas of tension? Just write them down. Tension, stress, whatever you want to call it. What are they? Write them down. Some of you may have already wrote these as obstacles, and that's okay too. It can be where's the tension or the stress? Remember when I told you that you were going to look at me and think, Allison, this is not relevant? I promise it is. I promise it's relevant. Just trust me. Now, this one's a big one. And you may need to come back to this and think a little bit more on it. And I think if I say it to you as a few days go on, maybe you might even think a little bit more about it and realize some things. Listen carefully. What are some expectations that have been falsely placed on you by others or by yourself? What are some expectations that have been falsely, wrongly placed on you by others or by yourself? What do I mean by that? When I talk to leaders, a lot of times they'll say things like, well, my downline XYZ, or they want me to XYZ, or they get irritated when I don't XYZ. A lot of times there's a false sense of responsibility, or it's often called an assumed sense of responsibility because you are the leader. There is an assumption that something is your responsibility. It may be an assumption that your team member has. It may be an assumption that you have that you're holding on to that's not actually true. So I watch a lot of people with teams spin their wheels over false expectations, things that are assumed responsibilities, even like responsibilities that are not actually theirs, but that they're carrying. Now, you can do this in your personal life and you can do it in your business, both. Sometimes people carry false responsibility around in their personal life that is not theirs to carry. It becomes a burden that holds them back from moving forward. The same thing can be true for your customers. Your customers you may have some false sense of responsibility over something that isn't yours to hold. Maybe it's that you think that you should be delivering products. That's a false sense of responsibility that actually isn't true. Okay. And it's probably holding you back from doing bigger and better things in your business. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to see if that. Okay, you guys have any questions up to this point? You're doing great. I know I'm asking you to write a lot of things, and I know so many of you are rolling your eyes thinking this is hogwash, but you will just trust me. I do this at home all the time. Here's a clue, a key indicator that you might be holding on to responsibility that is not yours to hold if you find yourself super frustrated. Happens to me. Guilty. An example. Well, I'm going to see if you have questions. Oh, Chrissy, I miss your face. I'm going to pretend like you're sitting in front of me. Hi, Chrissy. I feel like we had this conversation before. Okay. No questions. Good. So I have just a few more things, and then we're going to kind of get to the meat. You're like, what are we planning? We're going to get to the meat in just a second. This is you working through a process, and process is what helps us produce results. Okay. So I know you're like, this is a lot, or it seems so late. Yeah, I know. It's okay. Just step into it. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Next thing you're going to write. So we just talked about false expectations, false senses of responsibility, all those things. We identified some of that. The next thing I want you to write, and you're going to think, well, I already wrote this. No. What big dream are you currently chasing? This could be in your business. This could be in your personal life. This could be anything. But what big dream are you currently chasing? I want you to write it down. Okay. Next thing, number 9. What's the biggest thing holding you back right now? Now, I want you to think about this for a second, and I want you to be super honest with yourself. A lot of times we get stuck, or we find ourselves in this cycle of like doing the same things over and over again because we're not honest about what's holding us back. You could be self-sabotaging. It could be your mind. You could just have a negative mindset. It could be fear. It could be comparison. It could be wasting time, procrastination, lack of discipline. There's so many. What is it for you? Okay, Carly said fear of rejection. I think that's Carly. Yes. What is the biggest thing holding you back? For some of you, Katie said self-doubt. Girl, listen, yes, we all have it. For some of you, it may be that fear of failure, that fear of making a mistake, that fear of doing something wrong, that fear of looking stupid, the fear of like saying it's going to be amazing and it's not amazing. Whatever that is, I mean, that could be one of the things holding you back. Write it down. So I just had you do a ton of processing. Had you ask yourself a lot of hard questions, work through a lot of things. I want you to keep all of that kind of like in your head, and I want you to start on a fresh piece of paper. Because now we're going to start with some goals for those last 3 months. And how we're going to do it is we're going to start with the outcome that we want. So we're going to work our way backwards. So let's say that, well, let me do this. I want you to kind of like, let me show you. I want you to kind of block your paper off. We're going to do 4 areas of your business. I'm going to show you. You can make yours prettier than mine. I don't care. Okay. I just blocked my piece of paper off. I want you to write the words sales, recruiting, leadership, and that says growth. I don't know if you can read my handwriting. It says growth. 4 areas that we're going to set a goal for, and we're going to work backwards. We're going to look at what outcome we want. We're going to work backwards to set the goals and action points necessary to get to that. So sales, recruiting, leadership, and growth. That means your personal growth. Remember when we talked about what's holding you back? We're going to circle back around to that when we get to our personal growth section. Okay, so So here's what we're going to do. I want you to look, we're going to start with sales. First off, all I want you to do is think, okay, what do I want my goal for sales to be October, November, December? It does not need to be the same all 3 months. Remember when we looked at your calendar, and we looked at what was going on, and we looked at your life, and we looked at all of those things. October may be drastically different than November for you. December may be super high or super low for you. It just depends on where you are and what you have going on. Based on the things we already worked through, set a sales goal for October, November, December. So I changed my mind. So I put 3,000 in October, 3,000 in November, 2,000 in December. Feels good to me. You do you. Okay? You do you. Same thing for recruiting. What's the outcome you want? October, November, December. This is the easy part, y'all. You can say what you want. I want 2 recruits. I want 6 recruits. I want whatever. How many recruits do you want? Again, doesn't have to be the same. It's up to you. Make it all the same, make it different. I don't care. We're not going to do leadership yet. I'm going to get there in just a minute. And we're not going to talk about personal growth yet. We're going to go to those in just a second. Here's what we're going to do. Remember I said we're going to start with the outcome. We're going to work back. So now on a totally different sheet of paper, I just want you to write the word sales at the top. And I want you to start listing out all of the things you do to generate sales. This includes customer care. So this is everything from making samples to mailing thank you cards to following up to hosting Facebook parties to sending sample packs to XYZ 100,000. All the things that you do to generate sales and take care of your customers. Okay? I want you to start making a list. Now, if you were sitting here with me, I would make you show me your list and I would question you about every single thing you're doing. How would I do it? What I would do is I would take your piece of paper where you wrote your why and I would say, okay, so it's really important for you to have work-life balance, but you want to do 23 Facebook parties in October to sell 8,000 PRV. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Okay? Every single thing that you do, every single thing on your list needs to be evaluated and looked at. Does that matter? Is there a better way? Is that the most efficient way? And I would also say the more you can simplify, the better. If you are killing Facebook parties right now, kill some Facebook parties. If you're not yet using Visibly or something that helps post for you, look into it. We are always looking at how can we automate, how can we make something faster, better, easier, right? But if Facebook parties aren't your thing and you are crushing you're doing like sample boxes or something, I don't know what you're doing. You're doing like amazing little customer boxes. What do you even call those? So, Sherry, what is that called? Some of the girls on my team do the cutest like mystery box. Like this is what it is. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Whatever you're doing, simplify as much as you can. Maybe you're killing fundraisers right now and that's how you're getting your PRV. That's how you're growing your list. Amazing. Kill the fundraisers. Like do them and do them well. But the simpler you can make your task list, the better. One of the main ways we get sales right now is texting and emailing, which is archaic and old school, and it works for us. It works for my why and what I want out of my business. This is not about my task list. This is about your task list. This is about the things that you are doing and whether or not they're working for you. It is not worth your time to do something that's not yielding you a return. Now, I didn't just say if you do one Facebook party and it doesn't hit minimum party requirements that you should blow off all Facebook parties. Not what I said. Maybe you should look at what you did or didn't do right? Or maybe you should go and seek out help from someone who's crushing them and selling $1,000 a party, right? But I am saying you want to make sure that whatever you're doing has a return on your investment. Your investment is your time, right? Your time and your energy. Make sure that it's producing something. Question all the things you're doing, okay? You're going to do the same thing for recruiting. What are these specific tasks that you are doing every single month to generate recruits? I'm going to show you what my kind of like brainstorm looks like. And I do this every quarter. I do it every single quarter. It's a good check-in for me. It's a good evaluation for me to say, am I doing the right things? Are they getting me the result that I want? So like, this is my Scentsy task list. This is my recruiting task list. Then over here, it says team support and development. That's my leadership task list. And here's what I do. And I think this would be wise for some of you. Go through and mark out the things that only you can do. Not mark out, but like mark them. Also mark the things that you are busying yourself with that you could pay a teenager $10 to do. Seriously. I know you like to make samples. I know labeling every single one of your bars is important to you. But some of you are doing the same things you've done for 6, 7, 8 years, and you're not getting the results that you want. And if that keeps happening, we have to look at what we're doing and say, how do we get a different outcome? Sometimes that means we do something different. It's very, very easy to busy yourself with tiny tasks that we claim to be work that are actually keeping you from having a conversation, from fostering a relationship, from inviting somebody into the opportunity. This is what's vitally important as you look at the fourth quarter of the year, that you're picking tasks that are getting you the outcome that you want. I know that's not a fun thing for some of you to hear, and I know you don't necessarily want to hear it. Also, organizing your office for the 15th time in the past 2 months, it's a little bit of self-sabotage. You've got to look at where you're self-sabotaging, where you're holding yourself back. Sometimes it is your task list. I know some of you are working, but you're not getting the return you want. It's probably because you're not spending your time doing the things that get you the return on your time, right? Does that make sense? I know it's not fun. I know you don't like this. It's messy. It is. It's messy. I'm asking you to really evaluate every single thing that you're doing. Every single thing. And I'm also asking you to evaluate those things that you have adopted and like mimicked off of somebody else and make sure they're the right thing for you. I'm really hard. It's hard for me to talk right now. I need a drink. Whew. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. Oh, sorry. I'm not saying you need to recreate the wheel. I think there's a ton of incredible ideas out there, and it's perfectly fine to take somebody's idea and run with it. And this is one of those things where try something. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't, don't keep doing it. Or because what works for somebody else may not work for you the same way, and that is okay. The important thing is that you take, like, let's say you're watching somebody do a program, like they're doing a drive to director program. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm just whatever. And the goal, the outcome that goal is for people to promote to director. That's the desired outcome. And let's say it works great for this person. Let's say you try and it doesn't work great for you. That's okay. The important thing, though, is that you recognize the outcome was that I wanted to promote directors. Evaluate, what could I have done wrong? Like, maybe, like, why is this not a good fit for me? Or maybe was it just the people this, like, whatever. Just evaluate what didn't work and then figure out a way to get that outcome. Maybe it means adapting. Maybe it means changing. Maybe it means doing something different. All of those things are okay. Remember when we started with your why, this part is so important because it helps drive all of our decisions. I am not a programming based leader. I don't do it. I have in the past. We did some leadership development courses and things like that. I cannot get excited right now about a program where I have to be on Zoom every single week, or like, there's just some things about it that don't bring me enthusiasm. There's other things, though, that I can do to develop people that does bring me joy, that does get me excited, that does make me feel like I am totally living out my why in my business. Is this making sense to you? I hope I'm not just scaring you. Okay, so let's go to leadership. This is not going to be relevant for all of you, but it will be for some of you. And eventually it's going to be relevant for all of you. I always say, until you have a team to lead, you need to lead yourself. Okay, that's one of those expectations. It's not somebody else's job to take care of your business. It's your job to take care of your business. If you have a great leader that's helping, amazing. It doesn't happen like that all the time. And that's not an excuse for you not to lead yourself well. Okay, so here's the question. And this is going to be hard for some of you to hear, and I want you to hear me out. When it comes to leadership, what is the outcome that you want? We're talking about the last 3 months of the year, October, November, December. What outcome do you want? As a leader, what outcome do you want for your team? What is the big goal? I watch a lot of leaders being fussy and worried over what they're going to post on your team page. Listen, this is not me dogging the team page. They're valuable. But the question becomes, what's the outcome that you're trying to get? What are you trying to do? Many of you know I do not have a team page on Facebook anymore. I was going to say years. It's probably been, a year and a half, Courtney. I moved our team page over to Band. I'm going to tell you this because I was telling another switch directors today. It was an incredibly intentional switch on my part, and here's why I did it. Some of you will never do this, and that is totally fine. I'm just telling you there's other ways. It's so easy to think, this is what it looks like to be a leader. This is what everybody does. This is what I have to do. Not necessarily. Figure out what you want the outcome to be. For me, it became very important to me that I really wanted to and here's the other thing. My team is really old. Not like old in age, like it's a whole bunch of grandmas, not that. But it's old in that I have people on my team who have been on my team for 13 years. And they will always just be on my team. And that's okay. They're hobbyists. They enjoy purchasing product for themselves every few months, right? So I have a large team that a lot of it is very old, meaning they're not going to be super engaged. They are just going to be hobbyists. All of those things are okay. But on top of that, I recognized that I really wanted to make sure that I was focusing my time and energy and attention on the people who wanted to build a business, on the people that were willing to be developed, that were willing to grow and change. And one of the struggles I was having is I was getting on my team page on Facebook to post or to check on something or to reply to something, and then I would find myself in the newsfeed. And it's just like, how does that happen? Like, I don't know. How does it do that? Like, sucks you in. And 20 minutes later, I'm like, what was I even doing? So that's why I switched to the app that we use now. That's almost every single functionality that a group does. And for me, it's intentional. I had to completely retrain my team to go over there, right? To go check in every day and like make it a part of their business, just like getting on the workstation is. And it took some time, but long term, it has been worth it. One, because I'm not playing the engagement game, meaning I'm not worried about them responding or engaging so it pops up in their newsfeed. I'm training them and teaching them to think like business owners and go over there every single day to check in. And that's where I'm developing them. So it's intentional and it works for me. I don't tell you that to tell you need to get rid of your team Facebook page. That may not be the right outcome for you. But when I looked at what I wanted my outcome to be, I wanted to intentionally foster and develop those who wanted to run a business. And that meant I had to do something a little bit different. And it's worked for me. You've got to decide what you want your outcome when it comes to leadership to be, and then you have to work through the way. So what I was saying is I see a lot of directors like worried about what they're going to post on their team page or like trying to come up with engaging content. And the question is why? Why? I could care less if my team is engaged on a page. I want them to be running their business. I want them to be equipped. I want them to be trained well. I want them to know that where to come to me and how. I want them to be developing personally. That's what I want. I don't want to be worried about the analytics of social media and making sure that they're there. Does that make sense? Now, some of you, your outcome of your team, maybe you want a community. If that's your outcome, your task list for what your goals for October, November, and December in your team are going to be vastly different than mine. And that's okay. That's why the outcome matters. What do you want out of what you're building? What do you want? What's the outcome that you want? And then we work backwards from there. What are the tasks you're going to do to get to that place? I've almost steered completely away, just in my team, from like, we have welcome training, we're equipping people to run their business. But more than anything, our focus is on personal development, far and above. Like, it's more focused on personal development than it is on anything else. That's because that's what I want for them. That's the outcome that I want. Because I know that people who develop personally become great business owners who don't need to follow me, but who become leaders themselves. That's what my outcome is. I want to focus on business builders. I want to grow leaders. So I'm taking the outcome and I'm making sure my tasks match that outcome. Does this make sense? I'm going to ask questions. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm going to answer your questions. Do you have any questions? I gave you so many things to think about, didn't I? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns. How are we doing? Okay. Yeah, banned. Okay. No questions. If you have a question that pops up, I'll go for it. So, as you have your list of these are the tasks I'm doing for sales, everything that involves sales, customer service, there's a glare, so you're crazy. Customer care, whatever. You have all your tasks. You have all your tasks for your recruiting list. What are you doing to actively recruit? Same thing for your leadership. You also need to have some tasks around your personal growth. We get those tasks when we go back and we look at what's your biggest holdup? Like, what's the thing holding you back? That's where you start in your personal growth. So if you would say the biggest thing holding you back is, maybe you would say the biggest thing holding me back is self-doubt. I would tell you to read the book You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Incredible book. It's a mindset changer. It's awesome, super helpful. Yes, Kalia. Yes, great audiobook. She just mentioned You're a Badass at Making Money, another incredible book by the same author. If you would say, I feel like I'm not good at selling, I would say there's an incredible book or audiobook or whatever called Marketing Made Simple that I would highly suggest you listen to. It's all about marketing and how you put yourself out there. Incredibly helpful. Let's say you said fear is holding me back. I would say listen to anything by Mel Robbins. Anything. The 5-Second Rule is amazing. She's got some incredible audio stuff as well. There are podcasts out there. There are books out there over the topic that you need to grow in. Ask around. Maybe it's finances. Maybe you're like, finances are holding me back. I need a better handle on my finances. Go listen to Dave Ramsey's podcast. Go buy a book. Whatever you have to do, educate yourself. Personal growth is going to be so vital to your business. I was telling some leaders this today. When I look at the things that hold people back, when they get stuck in their business, it is often because they've stopped growing personally. It's not because they don't know how to sell or they don't know how to recruit, but they're holding themselves back because they're not giving themselves the time to grow and develop and change. And it's so vital in this business. Okay. Now, we're almost done. We're going to wrap up. I know this has been like the longest workshop ever and you're exhausted and I've made your brain fried. Here's what I want you to do after this. After you kind of said, this was my goal for the month, you have all these tasks that are on your list. I want you to really look at like how much time those tasks take. I also want you to look at what you're doing when. So I take, I'll just show you, this might be helpful to you, it might not. I'm not going to show you this system because, well, I am going to show it to you, but I'm not going to show it to you and say, this is how you should do it. No, it works for me. You figure out what works for you. But this is seriously like my entire business planner. It's a mess, but I'm just going to kind of show you the way my brain works. This is not going to work for some of you, and that's okay. But this is how I intentionally plan out a quarter. We're doing a book study. We do a book study in my team. I don't post weekly questions. It's just read the book. We have a book club chat at the end of the month. It's always over personal growth. I have all of my book studies planned out for the next 3 months. They're all books that I've already read. Okay? Right? I'm not giving myself more work to do, but I'm helping my team grow. We always do, all of the challenges I do in my team are personal growth challenges. So like this month's challenge is called an Extra Fries challenge. It's a movement challenge. I have these cute pins that say it's French fries. It's a French fry pin, but it says extra fries. Exercise? I thought you said extra fries. Anyways, we're doing an Extra Fries challenge. All they have to do is move 5 days a week. It's a way that I'm helping them develop personally. Some of you will be like, what does that have to do with Cincy or your business or whatever? Everything. Everything. They're growing and challenging themselves and becoming disciplined. All of that has everything to do with business. And then I have a Fall Forward promotion challenge. All of it's optional. All of it's on them, but all of it is planned out in advance. Every single thing. The texts that I send them, the emails that go out. Actually, I've quit emailing my team, just so you know. I still email my customers. My posts on my team page, all of them. I plan them out a week to 2 weeks at a time, every single time. So all of this is set in stone. Same is true for my customer communication. I look at it and I look at the master calendar of what's coming out and I say, okay, how do I want to market this? What do I want to say? How do I want to take good care of my customers? What does that look like for me? And I make a plan. And for me, it's just super regular communication. If I were doing Facebook parties right now, which I'm not, but I will again in the future, I would have my dates on here. I would have hosts on here. I would have all of those things planned out. I have customer text ideas right now, like that I'll get an idea. I'm like, oh, that'd be a great way to market XYZ. I write it down and then I schedule it in. Okay. Same thing for October. Like I already have October planned out. What our book study is, what our challenge is, big things that are happening. I write it all out in advance. I have all the way through December planned right now. And I will take a break starting on the 18th I don't know when shipping cutoff is yet, nobody does, but I will take a break on it starting the 18th. And I do that intentionally. So I will schedule out. Customer texts will still go out. Customer emails will still go out. Team communication will still go out while I'm off, but it's all pre-planned and taken care of. All of it. And everything I do very intentionally, they know that I'm off. So even when I communicate with my customers, like, hey, we're taking our 4-week break, we appreciate your, but I'm still communicating with them. So they know where they can get product if they need it. They know that they can get whatever they need. So essentially, I want you to look at all of those things. And this is not really like a 1 night, 1 hour kind of thing. This is I really need to look at the next 3 months, and I need to look at what I want, the outcome, and I need to work backwards. How am I going to get there? And here's the thing. It's not set in stone. Like, let's say you're really focused, like, I'm going to have 8 Facebook parties a month for the next 3 months. That's the way I'm going to generate recruits, sales, build my list, all the things. Amazing. Put it on the calendar, commit to it, fit it around your life. Do not fit your life around your business, and make it happen. But maybe you're looking at November and you're thinking kids are out of school for a whole month, a whole week. We have all these other things going on. It's not going to happen, or I can't do that many. Okay, you still have the outcome you want. You want 2,000 PRV, whatever it is. If you don't have the margin for that many Facebook parties, what are you going to do instead? Maybe it means 2 Facebook parties and something else, right? Maybe you're going to start texting your customers. You're going to do whatever, okay? All of this is focused on the fact that you know your life and you know yourself. And it gives you space to grow yourself and to grow your business around your life. That's the entire goal, okay? Yes, it takes some intentionality and it takes some planning. And like I said, it's not done. So I would even go as far as to say, like, if you know you want to sell $2,000 in whatever month, October, you know your average Facebook party does 500, whatever. Okay, you need to have 4 parties at least. When are they going on the calendar? Who are potential hosts for those, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Put it all out there and make a plan. All the way down to, like, when am I host coaching? What am I saying? So you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Like, I want to sell $500 a week. This is how I'm going to do it. I want to have X, Y, and Z outcome with my team. This is how I'm going to do it. I want to get so many recruits. This is how I'm going to do it. So much comes from making a plan and then having the guts and the bravery to act upon it. But don't self-sabotage yourself by creating a plan that you can't execute. You can't run your business exactly like somebody else because somebody else is not you. You can run it similar and you can learn things from them and you can try things they've done. All of that's fine. But do not completely model your business off of somebody else. You have to take all of this other stuff into account. What's holding you back? Where do you need to grow? What are your personal obstacles? Maybe, like, all of those things need to be taken into account before you can create a plan that's going to actually be executable. It sounded in my head like I was going to say execution, executable. Okay, you know what I mean? Okay. All right. So I gave you guys a ton of information. Here's my challenge to you. Don't just be like, oh, that was great, or, oh, I'm going to listen, but I'm not going to do the work. Do the work. Try it. See what happens. And know that you're going to make mistakes along the way. And be honest about where you are and where you're going and why. All of those things matter. Okay? I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope that you are having an incredible start to September. Probably my favorite start to any month ever. It's pretty super fun to watch. It was amazing. We got to have some fun celebrations that I never imagined. Like, pretty stinking cool. So I love you guys. Hope this was helpful. Cannot wait to talk to you next week. You know, the only thing I don't plan out all that far in advance is this. It's one of those things I want to so bad. Like, I wish I could tell you what we're talking about for the next 6 weeks. But honestly, the way that I plan content is based on conversations I have week to week. So in coaching and talking to other leaders, things that I see pop up, that's usually where the content comes from, because I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this again because everybody's talking about this. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. I can't wait to hear how it goes for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a message. Actually, I would say shoot me a message on, but just don't. I don't check my Facebook messages. I don't. But you can shoot me an email. You can email me at AllisonDalkey@gmail.com. And I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have more questions, if you want me to clarify something, I would be happy to. And I'll definitely get back to you via email. Probably won't look at my messages. Just being honest. All right. Love you guys. Hope that you have a fantastic Thursday evening and a great long weekend. See you next Thursday. Bye.